The Silverstone paddock is getting ready to explode. And not just because of the arrival of Cadillac's top management, but because this British Grand Prix weekend could mark a dramatic turning point in the most explosive saga of modern Formula One. Max Verstappen and his potential departure from Red Bull. Yes, you heard that right. While just days ago the talk was of a harmless flirtation between the Dutch champion and Mercedes, the signals have now shifted. And from the looks of it, Toto Wolff is ready for anything. But let's take a step back. Until a few months ago, Max seemed locked into Red Bull until 2028. Every time he was asked about his future, he would brush it off with a, "I'm not thinking about it," or "I'm happy where I am." But now the atmosphere has changed, and so has his tone. Speaking to Viaplay, Verstappen played the diplomatic card but left the door wide open. "I decide my own future." No clear denial, no firm rejection. Just one sentence which, for those who understand Max's language, says it all. He's seriously thinking it over. And, more importantly, he's sending a message to Red Bull. And that message is loud and clear. Give me a car that can win, or I'm gone. After the incident in Austria with Antonelli, which took him out of the race on the very first lap, Verstappen now sits third in the driver's standings, a staggering 61 points behind Piastri. And Red Bull, only the fourth best team in the Constructors' Championship. A steep fall that has set off every possible internal alarm. And so comes the ultimatum. Max made it clear, "We still have some updates coming, but it won't be until the summer break that I'll know whether we can really compete." Heavy words that leave no room for interpretation. If Red Bull doesn't respond, he's already looking elsewhere. And that elsewhere has a name. Mercedes-AMG Petronas. Sky Sports F1 Italia dropped a real bombshell. Talks between Verstappen and the Brackley-based team are real, concrete, and far more advanced than anyone had thought. And we're not talking about 2028. This is about 2026. So, what's really happening behind the scenes? Officially, Toto Wolff is still keeping the corporate tone. We've got an excellent lineup with George and Kimi. But he also added, when a four-time world champion is in play, you've got to understand what his plans are. You don't need to be an expert to read between the lines. Today, Verstappen is the most sought-after man in the paddock. And Mercedes doesn't want to be caught off guard if, or when, he decides to abandon ship at Red Bull. Wolff is no longer denying anything. And George Russell, who stands to lose the most, gave a surprisingly candid statement. Of course, it's normal for Mercedes to talk to Verstappen. If you want to get back to the top, you need the best drivers, the best engineers, the best team. And Max is the best available. That doesn't just sound like a warning. It sounds like resignation. But be careful. Bringing Verstappen to Brackley isn't just about who sits in the car. It's a political decision. Part of the Mercedes board is still hesitant. Why? Because letting go of Russell, a driver they developed internally, and handing him off to a rival would be a tough strategic pill to swallow. Then there's the regulation wildcard. In 2026, F1 enters a new technical era, less about aerodynamics, more about power units. And if there's any team that's proven it can dominate a regulation shift, it's Mercedes. What they did in 2014 hasn't been forgotten. And Max? Max knows this better than anyone. His instinct for competitiveness has him eyeing 2026 as a pivotal year. If he senses Red Bull is no longer the place to be, he'll act, even if it shocks the entire paddock. The Italian press is convinced the deal with Mercedes is practically done. Only a political green light is missing. And while Helmut Marko and Christian Horner deny every rumor, the reality is they're already dealing with an unprecedented internal crisis. Not just on a technical level, but managerial as well. Max is even rumored to have requested certain responsibilities be reassigned. If confirmed, that would be clear proof of chaos inside Red Bull. And it would explain why the four-time world champion is playing hardball. Either change things for me, or I'll make the change myself. The heart of the story isn't just where Max Verstappen will race next. It's what his move would represent. Because if he truly chooses Mercedes, it would be the biggest shakeup in the driver market since Hamilton joined the same team back in 2013. But this time, with one major difference. Max isn't just looking for a new environment. He's threatening the very system that built itself around him. And the fact that people are even mentioning a potential sabbatical for him in 2026? That shouldn't be underestimated either. A Max Verstappen off the grid, even for just one season, would shatter the balance of the entire paddock. And yet, the Dutchman has never hidden the fact that he has no intention of dragging his Formula One career into his 40s like Hamilton or Alonso. For Max, F1 is a mission, not a religion. The moment he feels he no longer has a winning package under him, he'll walk away. And he might do it sooner than expected. This is exactly where Mercedes is playing its smartest card. Wolff doesn't need to sign Verstappen right away. He can wait until 2027. In fact, that might even be the preferred option. Because in 2026, with new regulations on the horizon, no one really knows what to expect. It could be a technical lottery. But in 2027? By then, there will be data, experience, and direction. Mercedes could offer Max a much more stable, mature project, maybe even the perfect setup for a dramatic comeback. Meanwhile, the media circus rolls on. Christian Horner is under more pressure than ever. Rumors are swirling about contested leadership, tensions within the board, and internal clashes with Helmut Marko. Nothing official, of course, but as the saying goes, where there's smoke. And while chaos spreads inside Red Bull, Mercedes remains silent, strategic, calculated, letting the others lose their heads. Even Martin Brundle weighed in with a brutal assessment. If I were Russell, I'd start making some phone calls. A sentence that sounds more like a warning. Because despite his past victories, George is no longer untouchable. He used to be, but now, not so much. And here's the thing. Verstappen doesn't even have to sign anything. Just saying that he's open to signing is enough to shake the team's internal structure. That's Max's power. His intention alone creates panic. And in the driver market, that's pure leverage. Back to the present. The entire paddock is watching Silverstone as a potential turning point. Verstappen has already made one thing clear. I don't want the media to keep spreading rumors. I'll speak when I decide it's time. But the problem is, yes, he doesn't need to speak. His facial expressions, his omissions, his half-answers, they're already headlines, and Mercedes knows it. And they're using every single word. So the real question is, how long can this fragile balance last? Red Bull must prove immediately that they have what it takes to return to the top. Not just for Max, but for the credibility of the entire project. A disappointing season could be devastating. Not just in points, but in image, sponsorships, and talent. And if Verstappen were to turn his back on the team that made him a champion, the domino effect could bring down everything around it. The truth? The paddock is ready to explode. And if anyone thinks this is just a media bubble, they're completely wrong. Because every move, every glance, every unsaid word is a move on the chessboard. And in this game, Verstappen is one of the few players who makes the rules, not just follows them. So the final question we're all asking is, will it really be Max leaving Red Bull or Red Bull losing Max? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, nothing will ever be the same again. Thanks for watching this video until the end. If you've made it this far, it means you're a true Formula One fan. So tell us, do you really believe Verstappen will sign with Mercedes in 2026? Or is he just playing the game to gain more power? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Now click on the video currently appearing on your screen and keep following us into the hottest behind-the-scenes action in F1.